Hello, bonjour, Annie, hola. My name is Garrett Ryan. I am with Artist Relations here at Fringe North this season. I'm so happy to be back here on the Fringe North podcast once again. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of these before the festival starts on August 16th. In today's podcast, we are very lucky to be joined by Claire Mitchell. Thanks so much for coming on.
Mm, Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I'd love to start by asking what audiences can expect to see from you in Fringe North 2023.
Um, uh, Lots of spoken word poetry
Amazing.
and a kids book that I had written in a.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. I'd love to. So I know if people have been to previous Fringe festivals, they've seen some of your work in last year's festival, and I think is you done two festivals before this one, I think.
This is going to be my third.
This is going to be your third. Amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So people may have seen two prior. And then this time we're going to be seeing some work that you have done before and then some new pieces as well. Is that correct?
Yes. It's a mixture of new stuff and some stuff from last year.
Amazing. What are
Mostly
you?
new
Oh,
stuff.
go ahead. Oh, it's mostly new stuff. Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
Um, what are you most looking forward to showing out of the new stuff? You don't have to share the piece itself, but like what piece are you most excited for people to hear for the first time?
Orchid.
Orchid.
It's a poem I wrote about a surgery that I had recently
Amazing.
and just feeling elated after. And I just wanted to share that with everyone.
That's lovely. Well, we'll have to keep looking out for that one. And in terms of the children's story as well, that has been something that you've been developing for a little while. That's right?
Yes, I read it once last year,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now we're gonna feature it as its
Yes.
own. Mhm.
Yeah. What was the uh what was the process of creating that like? Like what was your inspiration for wanting to do a children's story?
Um, I just took a bit of my life. I never really had friends growing up.
Hmm.
At first, it started out as a poem, and then I'm like, hold on,
Yeah.
this could be a kid's book. I could actually get someone to draw it.
Yeah.
Haven't found someone to draw it yet, but
That's cool. Well, it's great that it's been able to kind of take different shapes as well. I hope after this we can see about getting someone to do the illustrations and that would be great. Um, Speaking of your life, I'd love to kind of go back a little bit and talk about how you got started in all this in the first place. Tell us a little bit about your development as a poet, as a writer.
mhm.
I'd love to hear your story.
um, Writing poetry was something that I wasn't really intending on doing. Growing up, I was told I'd never make it out of a grade three English book.
Hmm.
That was in high school.
Wow.
But some stuff happened, made me upset, and I just wanted to try to write it out and like not have to hold on to it. And my first poem kind of developed itself. It was like five little spaces long, and that was the extent of it. Then I started doing open mics with Nicole. First, just sitting at the Gore Street Cafe and listening to people, sometimes uncomfortably sitting, depending on who was doing their thing,
Hmm.
but mostly just expanded from there. Nicole's actually the one that actually contacted me about joining, being a part of this. So it would
Yeah.
also be a great way to kind of build exposure for the support group that I run, the afternoon trans support group here
Yeah.
in the Sioux.
I love that Nicole is the one who was able to bring you in. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about the support group.
We're kind of a meetup every once in a while for coffee.
Hmm.
The support group kind of just formed around that,
Right.
and that was going on 6 years ago. There was nothing for trans people here in the Sioux.
Hmm.
So I really need some people to talk to, and I figured if hate to quote a baseball movie, but if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
So I started it up, and mainly for myself, but also to help others. And from there, it's kind of snowballed and taken on a whole new life of its own.
Yeah. That's so
Mhm.
great. How how frequently are you meeting and stuff?
Twice a month,
Oh wow, that's so great.
roughly every 2 weeks or so.
And are you still just meeting for coffee, or you're doing what does the meetings look like now versus like from the starting point?
Um, Starting point was just me and my partner at the time.
Right.
Well, not at the time, but they became my partner. But yeah, we have a bunch of people now that come, enjoy, and find understanding.
Yeah.
They find that they're not alone. And
Hmm.
that was my main goal of the whole thing, is just to say, you are not alone.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and for doing this work. It's so important in the community. Um, are you, I believe you're also involved with some other groups as well. Is that true?
Yes, I'm a board member on Sioux Pride.
Right. And how, what does that look like for you? What is your involvement there?
I am the head of volunteer coordination,
Amazing.
meaning that I tell volunteers what to do while I'm doing the volunteer work.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've
That's
got good legs and good arms, so I get stuff done.
mhm, fantastic. And
Mm.
how big of an organization is Sue Pride? I'm not familiar with like how many people are involved in making that happen.
Um, I want to say there's like 15
Oh, great.
people like running it right now.
Hmm.
Like people show up, some people don't to meetings. I
Right.
don't exactly know, but um, on a scale of 1 to 10, my group is probably about a 1 compared to Sue Pride.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
like they're putting on a whole festival for 2 weeks right now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Um, so I'd love to know a little, just because you're so involved in the community. Um, have you noticed, in these last like 2 years, a shift in the queer community in the area? I spoke to an artist from Sudbury who spoke about how in the queer community there they've had to really start fighting harder for some for their rights and safety in the cities, as there's kind of been a pushback against some of the activities and things like that, and they've really had to be outspoken against
Mhm.
some of the hateful attitudes. I don't know what things are looking like in the Sioux, but are you finding that shift as well? And it's like I'm just curious what that's looking like.
Yes, we did have a bit of a pushback there back, I want to say late March, early March, and that
Hmm.
around that time.
Right.
We had a drag story time, and a group called the Unity Center had started a protest against drag story time.
Wow.
Hmm. It was awful. They, well, I will say that the group, our like Sioux Pride and the community of Sault Ste. Marie really stepped up.
That's great.
We, my partner and I notified Sioux Pride a week before the event when we found out about it. And we easily had 100 people there. Community, community groups other than Sioux Pride, Strong Minds, stuff like that. They all showed up to counter protest the Unity Center.
Yeah,
There had to have only been about 20 of them there.
amazing.
Um,
That's such a powerful statement to just vastly outnumber them.
yeah,
Yeah.
we, it was just an incredible feeling seeing the number of people there coming together for their community.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I believe, it was House of Gore that was running the drag story time, I believe, right? So, is they're also involved in the festival. I had spoken to them when that was happening in March, and but I'm so glad that the community stood against
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
it was a
yeah.
great day. Like
Hmm.
considering what how it started.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible show of support and solidarity. That's so great to hear. Um, and I wonder, from your perspective as a storyteller, how do you think uh, work done in the arts can help fight against that hate? I know you have a lot of strong activist themes in your work. So I'd love to hear you speak to that.
I believe caring and art doesn't take much.
Mhm.
It's creation, it's inspiration, and hate needs fuel to burn.
Yeah,
And we can create more than they can burn. And that's what I aim to do and aim to prove.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I can resonate with that, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can resonate with that as well. Um, what if you could have one of your pieces that you think would best showcase like the I sense it. I get a strong feeling of like love and care from your work. Is there something in like one of your pieces that you think best showcases that love for your community? That like maybe a piece that you have done for a few years now and you keep coming back to because you really feel it speaks to something important.
Um, I will say I actually read this one at the Sioux Pride flag raising ceremony. It's
Okay,
called Our Pride,
amazing.
and it talks about the community and how fast the distance disappears the moment we're all together.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
That's great. I would also love to know what is the community like in terms of uh, poets in Sault Ste. Marie, in terms of spoken word artists? Is there a lot of people doing similar work to you? Do you have a strong community with similar artists, or do you feel like you're sort of undertaking this work um, alone? I don't know how big the community is that's doing this kind of important uh, creation.
As far as I know, I'm the only one doing like uh, spoken word poetry about being trans,
Right.
um, dealing with depression and autism, all in the kind of same boat.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say that there aren't any other people in similar spots, but I will say that I'm just going to be doing what I'm doing, and hopefully people don't feel alone when they hear it, or it may even inspire people to tell their own stories.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is there the other people that are involved with either your support group or with Sue Pride? Is there a lot of artists there as well? Not necessarily, spoken word artists, but I find a lot of people um, that are in the queer communities are typically involved with art in some capacity. So I wonder if you have like a strong community of artists, even if they're doing different kind of work surrounding you.
I will say that a lot of the people in my group have artistic talents,
Mm-hmm.
and whether that's culinary,
Yeah.
art, um, painting. I know there's other art, but I can't think of it. But like everyone does their own thing, everything that they're passionate about. And even if it's as simple as like playing games or stuff like that, it's all an art form.
Yeah.
It allows you to express yourself and show your passion.
Mm-hmm. So would you say like art in whatever way they do it, whether it's the cooking or painting or spoken word, it's like a really important part of your communities because it's allowing people to express things that they might not have otherwise been able to express. That's what I get from your work, and that's why I think it's so great. But that's what you find in terms of that kind of self-expression.
Yeah,
uh,
I know people that sing, dance, beadwork, and all kinds of things.
mm-hmm.
Everyone has a talent, and everyone has a way of expressing themselves through it. I just enjoy the fact that people are able to express themselves and be themselves in that moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What is a piece of art that has spoken to you or inspired you the most? Is there whatever it may be, if it's a poem, if it's a play or a movie, or what has sort of inspired you as a person and as an artist the most?
I'll say music. Music has, I've been able to just lose myself in the melody. Doesn't matter if I can understand the language or there doesn't even need to be words. As long as I can lose myself in it and ride the emotions that I feel in it, I can create something from it. Whether that's a story, a poem, or
Mm-hmm. So is that something you do as a writer? You listen to music and use that to kind of guide your work as well?
mhm, I will listen to a song over and over and just ride that same feeling until I can put my feelings into words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting that you're able to create in such a word heavy art form throughout inspiration from things that are often wordless. Like it's beautiful how that kind of transfer happens, the artistic transfer. Um, uh, have you ever considered doing music? Like I like taking some of your poetry and making it into lyrics for a song, anything like that?
I think I did try that once, but I was told that I don't have the way I write doesn't exactly work in rhythm, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe.
Interesting.
I did try writing this one called Ugly Old Gray Boat. It was about a terrible car my mom owned.
Hmm.
Oh, it was awful.
What
It was
kind of
the
car
best
was
car
it?
she ever owned.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was big, it was gray, it was the length of a truck.
Oh,
It was just a
interesting.
great big long rectangle.
You had
Uh,
a lot of memories there.
yeah, first summer we had it, power windows, they would go down, but they wouldn't go up. Locks didn't work. The air conditioning broke. Still the best car she owned, but
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
29 plus summer driving down to wherever, and you have to drive with the doors open.
That's there's something special about things that are not you never remember the things that are perfect. You remember the things that are like falling apart, but they had some kind of sentimental meaning to you. Um,
Hmm.
the car that I have the most memories with was similarly also falling apart, like no windows and breaking down all the time. But it creates the best stories.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, outside of music, have you ever considered doing any other arts, or do you do any other arts as well? Like,
I do a lot. Well,
oh,
used to do a
that's
lot more. I used to
okay.
do a bit of blacksmithing. I
Oh,
do
really?
carpentry, a little bit of sewing.
Cool.
Um,
How did you get into blacksmithing? I don't know if I've ever met anyone that does blacksmithing. That's very cool.
my family does historical reenactments. So we
Ah,
used to do the Siege of Fort Michilimackinac
yeah,
every year in May.
cool.
Yeah. And I just got very interested in the methods that they used back then.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Hmm.
And do you find it's very interesting to me because um it's such a different kind of art than doing spoken word. But do you find that there can both be outlets of self-expression, like doing that, like carpentry, or like the very kind of physical work versus the kind of more mental work, doing the spoken word? Do you still find they're both outlets for you?
Oh, yes. Um, I find spoken words a great way to let out all your deeper emotions
Mm-hmm.
and frustration.
Yeah.
Where, well, stuff like blacksmithing and carpentry. I'll say carpentry is more of a light type. I wouldn't. I
Right.
wouldn't carve when I'm upset.
That's fair.
It's more of a happy medium. But like being upset or angry there and just picking up a hammer and shaping steel.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a hammer involved in blacksmithing. I feel like that's a good
Mhm.
outlet for anger.
It lets out a lot of pent up energy as well.
Hmm.
Same with leather work or embossing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, to do some of the types of designs on there, you could strike the texture piece 1,000 times
Wow.
to finish a piece.
That's very cool.
Mhm.
I could do a whole podcast talking about uh blacksmithing and leatherwork. I know nothing about this and it's so cool. What's the coolest thing you've made? Uh Either smithing or carpenter, like anything.
I'll go with the three main ones that I've done, like with the physical type of art.
Hmm.
I made a throwing knife
Cool.
with my blacksmithing. Yeah, darn thing was as long, probably half as long as my arm, and
Wow.
yeah, I won a lot of tournaments with that
Very cool.
throwing knife. The curves, the angles, all of that, it's all mathematical,
Hmm.
and it all adds up to 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
As far as carpentry goes, at the moment, I make homemade sex paddles.
Oh, interesting.
I carve intricate designs into them. I have one that is 3 roses
Cool.
and rose, like the rose cane around it,
Right.
with the stems with the thorns.
Cool.
Looks really nice.
Yeah.
I know no one could see this on this podcast, but yeah, it looks really nice.
Awesome.
And I do in embossing, I make leather bracelets with people's names and hmm, different designs on it.
Wow.
I also dye leather, so I can put different colors on it as well.
Very cool. And is this something you do as a hobby, or do you sell these things?
Uh, Hobby, sell,
Yeah,
give to friend.
fair enough.
It's all kind of just like I do it just to pass the time and to alleviate a lot of my stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Focusing on a project just relieves the stress of the day.
Hmm. Yeah, would you recommend um someone give one of those more physical crafting arts, give it a shot, if they're potentially dealing with stress or any anxiety, like you think it's a good outlet for people to maybe try?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest them.
Very cool. And
Some of them are very costly, though. That's why I
I
kind of
imagine, yeah.
don't do blacksmithing now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, cost of steel, coal, and an area to forge is very costly.
Right. That's fascinating. I I had no idea that you did this. That's very interesting. Um,
Hmm.
I I I would love to know. I want to. I would love to keep talking about blacksmithing, but I don't want to. I can just fall too deep into a rabbit hole. But I'd
Hmm.
love to know, um, if you could do, if money wasn't an object, if nothing was stopping you, what would your dream artistic project be? Hello. I think we got cut out.
Hi.
Oh, hi. There we go. Can I get your video?
You there?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear? Can you turn your video on?
Uh,
You just hit the button.
Tova's
Oh, there
coming.
we go. Okay, I texted Tova. Yeah, I think there might have been a Wi-Fi thing.
Video's on.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, we're almost done anyway, but yeah, I think there was a Wi-Fi cutout or anything. Okay,
Little buffering.
that's all good. Okay, I think we're good. You can still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll jump back into it. I I would love to know, um, money being no object, having nothing else stopping you, what would your dream artistic project look like?
A little bit of everything.
Cool.
I'm more of a Jane of all trades, master of none.
Hmm.
I get so good at something and then I go on to the next artistic journey.
Right.
I'm still good at the stuff I do, but I just enjoy being able to do stuff at my own pace and in the way that I enjoy,
Hmm.
whether that's blacksmithing, carpentry, uh, embossing, um, working with animal bone,
Interesting.
painting, drawing,
Hmm.
uh, spoken word, writing stories, or even coming up with a whole D&D campaign from
Oh, very
scratch.
cool. That's awesome.
It's all just a means to let me express myself in a way that I need to at the time.
Yeah. So your your dream is basically just to allow yourself the time and freedom to do all the things.
Then have it all add up to one big
Yeah,
artistic thing.
I really want to see that. I would love to see how you would combine all those things as some grand artistic masterpiece. That would be very cool to see.
Yeah, it'd just be like an episode of Art Attack.
Amazing.
Person just start throwing bits of everything around, and you have to go up and in order to see what it actually is.
Very cool. Uh, and if you could offer any advice for someone, well, let's say your work is so personal and unique, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that can resonate with at least parts of your story. Um, so I'd love to hear, what would your advice be to yourself when you first started writing that first small poem and kind of dabbling in the arts? What would you say to yourself, knowing what you do now?
You won't believe how far you've come and how far you will go.
It's beautiful. Amazing. Um, Thank you so much for having this conversation. It's been a lot of fun. I I'm so happy I get to learn so many new things about you. I really would love to hear more at some point about some of the blacksmithing and embossing and stuff. That is such a new thing to me. I have no idea about any of it. It sounds very cool. Um, and we're so glad as a festival to have such a multifaceted, amazing artist such as yourself here with us. It's really an honor. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there anything coming up for yourself outside of the festival that you'd like to plug, that people should keep an eye out for?
Um, the Afternoon Trans Support Group meets up the first Saturday of the month between noon and 4 at the Queen's Tarts, as well as the second to last weekend, Saturday from noon to 4 at the Queen's Tarts again.
Amazing.
And
people
we're looking
just
forward to
show up.
having anyone under the trans umbrella or questioning,
Mhm.
as well as allies, are welcome too.
Fantastic. That's such important work, and I hope this is able to reach some new people.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think then we are good to wrap up. But before we do, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and joining us. Merci, miigwech, gracias. And just a reminder that Fringe North 2023 will be from August 16th to the 20th. And you can check out our website and all our social media channels in the description below for more information. And if you want to support the work that our team is doing, you can consider tipping the Fringe. And you can find the link for that below as well. We will be back with a few more podcasts this year before the festival starts. And we're really looking forward to that. So thank you so much once again, Claire. It's been fantastic.
Thank you again for having me.
Of course.